Yep, there you are. You are here and I am here too. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in to the next step in our strategic implementation planning for our restaurant and or food truck. Okay, so, and this is getting rather large, and like I said, I am considering, I'm actually looking for office space right now, and that's what I will be doing after this 10 minutes, is kind of taking it easy today and browsing the city options for commercial lease space. I need an administrative office, I really need a building, but that is under works as well, because I'm not filthy rich yet, but I'm working on it, okay? So, and actually I don't want to be rich, I want to be prosperous, which is a totally different thing. So, let's go ahead and move into it. You'll notice that we have already itemized our components for our cost of goods sold, which is our insurance, commercial lease, the truck or the restaurant space, and of course licensure. And that licensure can be your sanitation grade for the restaurant or the food truck. It can also include ABC licensure, okay? So then we took a step under and we started on our objectives so that we can accomplish those quote unquote goals, which are listed as components. So to accomplish in obtaining insurance, on the one side, you need to determine whether or not you need both business and or vehicle insurance. Now, if you have a restaurant and you don't deliver, you may not have the need for vehicle insurance. But of course, all businesses, and let me repeat this one more time, all businesses do need some form of insurance just for liability reasons. We've already discussed the fact that the limited liability company or corporation option that is available through your incorporation procedures through the North Carolina Secretary of State, it is not a blanket of immunity. So, you know, this absolute immunity, it does not exist, okay? So business insurance is very, very important. I mentioned to you before that there are a lot of companies that offer it. I've 4-time had mine through Hartford. You can, I strongly suggest that you do research different insurance providers, okay? Under the commercial lease, truck, or restaurant space, we were determining whether or not we want to need the truck, buy the truck, lease the truck, buy it from an auction, buy it with regular financing terms, or lease it. And in the restaurant space, you need to determine whether or not you can find a place that's actually turnkey. Turnkey meaning that you turn the key and you literally are able to walk in, and you basically just put your stuff in it, quote unquote, and you're in business. It doesn't require any upfit or any repairs to bring it up to code or to bring it into a condition ready for business. All right. And then you have your licensure on that side, your ServSafe, your sanitation, your occupancy, all those things, okay? So we went down further. We are at now the 4th step in the process, if you will, or the 4th objective, because that's what you do. You do this gradation of objectives so that you can accomplish the ultimate goal, okay? So for insurance, on this side, this is a perfect opportunity to begin your filing system. So this will serve more than one purpose for your business operations. You need to begin a filing system, and you need to have your files saved both electronically and physically. For me, you know that I love my Apple products, so I use my iPad and I use, of course, the Apple products and the iPad, but it can be the iPad or the phone or your MacBook, because they all have the same user transfer option with regards to their app that is simply called Files. And the Files app is such a magical thing because you literally can have access to all of your files on your desktop if you use, of course, the Apple products. They do have an option for the Windows operating system. On that side, they have OneDrive through, or Google Drive through the Microsoft Office. Of course, it is the OneDrive. And basically your files are in that position, stored electronically in the cloud indefinitely, okay? So that is very important that you go ahead and start that and have a copy, a physical copy of your certificate of insurance, albeit vehicle or business. And of course, if you have vehicle insurance, then of course you need to have a copy and your insurance card readily available in that food truck at all times, should it become necessary to present. Let's go over to the commercial lease and truck or restaurant space. All right, so you either buy it or you lease it. If you're your truck, if you're going to the auction, like I said, you need to get a trusted mechanic. You need their advice on what types of trucks you should be looking for. My uncle taught me 3 different tricks to avoid buying a lemon at an auction, and I can share them with you. So, number 1, you want to start the ignition, right? And make sure that it's not running rough. But even if there is a rough idle, that's something that can generally be fixed very easily. But the point in you actually turning on the ignition is for a much greater inspection, okay? So you're going to pop the hood. When you pop the hood, you're going to take the oil cap off. I know that seems kind of like, wait, I don't want to do that, something may spit out. No, that's the whole point. You need to see if there's any oil being spat out of that, the oil reservoir. So you'll put your hand over it, and if you have oil on your hands afterwards, do not buy that vehicle. There are some severe problems with the engine, okay? Also, you're going to look at the color of the exhaust smoke that is coming out of the exhaust pipe. If it is white, do not buy that vehicle. If it is black, do not buy that vehicle. If it is pushing out too much water, do not buy that vehicle. And then last but not least, the most commonsensical thing that most of us forget to do, you're going to check the power, all right? So you've got it on, you're going to press your horns, you're going to try all of the functional components. So you're going to try your blinkers, you're going to press your brake light and make sure someone can see whether or not your brake lights come on. You're going to turn on the radio. That's also a good telltale sign. You're going to, if it has power windows or power locks, if it purports to have heated seats, and I don't see how heated seats would be relevant for a food truck, but nonetheless, just make sure all those things, those were the things that I was taught. And actually they've served me very well. Each car I have bought from the auction, which has been about 6 or 7 at this point in my life, they are all still, they did very well. I still have 2, of course, and they are doing very well. And I think that's what I was kind of referring to when I kind of misspoke there by giving the impression that I still have all 7. I only have 2. And in the past, my vehicles have done very well and served me well. In fact, when I decided to get rid of them, quote unquote, and maybe upgrade, that was the only need for me to make a change, okay? All right, so let's see. If you're going to get restaurant space and you're not doing a food truck, then you need to submit an application for that commercial lease. Oftentimes this application is very simple and straightforward, but there may be some commercial landlords that may require a personal credit check. So you need to make sure that your personal credit is decent. So then go on over to Experian or TransUnion or Equifax or whatever your preferred service provider is, and go ahead and get a snapshot of what your personal credit looks like before you submit that application and that application fee, because oftentimes they will not return it, just like when you're applying for a residential lease, okay? And oftentimes there will be a requirement that you provide maybe a business plan or, you know, maybe verification of the legitimacy of your organization. Now, we've already covered that part, so you should be A-okay in that area. You need to have your North Carolina Secretary of State certificate showing that your corporation is indeed incorporated and in good standing with the North Carolina Secretary of State. You need to have a business license if that does apply to your city.